water. It's such a simple but essential element. In abundance, water turns our planet green, helps communities thrive, nourishes our environment, and makes possible a bounty for consumers. When water is scarce, it creates a torrent of trouble. Right now, a devastating drought is spreading in California. But it's not just a lack of rain and snow from Mother Nature that's to blame. The acts of our own government inflict most of the pain. Federal regulators at the United States Fish and Wildlife Service issued a biological opinion in 2008 for the Delta smelt, a tiny minnow protected under the Endangered Species Act, which forced water to be shut off to farms, cities, and the environment in the San Joaquin Valley in Southern California. In protecting the smelt, a fish with no commercial value and only found in California, regulators have unleashed a tidal wave of human misery, economic calamity, and environmental disaster. Pacific Legal Foundation for more than 3 decades has promoted a balanced approach to environmental regulations. We believe sound science, common sense, and respect for the rights of people deserve a place in how we nurture the environment. That's the approach PLF is taking in this regulatory drought. PLF attorneys represent several San Joaquin Valley farmers in challenging the federal government-caused drought that has left a wake of disaster in one of the world's most fertile valleys.
Thank you for coming here today. My name is Damian Schiff. I'm an attorney with Pacific Legal Foundation. Pacific Legal Foundation is here today to announce a vitally important lawsuit to help fight back against what we consider to be a most egregious example of misguided government, big government at its worst. In the middle of the biggest recession in decades, the federal government is in the process of imposing a depression on California's agricultural industry by starving it of its lifeblood, water.
Hundreds of thousands of acres of some of the world's best farmland that consumers depend on for high-quality, affordable food were left unplanted in 2009. When there's no water, crops aren't planted, and orchards die. Jobs are killed, thousands of them. The government drought has decimated rural communities, already reeling from the recession. Urban cities, too, have paid the price for this man-made drought. 23 million Californians, including about 3 million in the Bay Area, get their drinking water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. When water is scarce, it means strict conservation, brown lawns, and a Delta smelt tax in the form of rising water bills. PLF, with your support, helps do what the federal government won't: prevent environmental regulations from uprooting our constitutional rights and starving people of the water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. This water is necessary to grow our food and protect our nation's security, provide important jobs, stimulate economic prosperity in rural and urban regions, and, yes, to protect the environment. This drought is sure to get worse unless government bureaucrats and environmental activists are stopped. A second biological opinion for another fish species is expected to cut water flows more severely in 2010. Combined with the regulations for smelt, this second layer of government red tape will remove from California's plumbing system enough water to serve the annual needs of 9 million Californians. Rural communities will see air quality diminish as the San Joaquin Valley is turned into a dust bowl. Important habitat provided by family farmers for various species of animals and birds will disappear, and the fire danger on the fringe of rural towns will rise. The federal judge hearing the smelt case even called the water cutoffs catastrophic to the San Joaquin Valley's environment. With severe water shortages the past 2 years, you'd think fish are better off, but that's not the case. State officials report that smelt numbers, despite water cutbacks, are at an all-time low. According to Randall Baxter, a senior state fisheries biologist in the Sacramento Bee, in October 22, 2009, there are very few Delta smelt out there. That's not surprising. since there are other factors thought to influence the health of smelt besides the government pumps. Toxic runoff into the delta, non-native species that prey on smelt, and other factors. But the government has pinned all of the blame on the pumps for killing smelt and turned off the tap, squeezing the flow of water to people. So like so many government solutions, it's all pain and no gain. People are suffering. Our nation grows more dependent on foreign food. More people stand in unemployment lines, and even the fish and the environment are not any better off. This case is important for a variety of reasons. The law must not be used to help species at the expense of people. The heavy hand of the federal government, under the Commerce Clause of the United States Constitution, has no place in regulating a fish species found only in one state. The Constitution enumerates certain limited powers to government. Regulators can't go rogue in regulating for the smelt. The Commerce Clause permits federal regulations over persons, things, or activities involved in or affecting interstate commerce. Clearly, the Delta smelt does not meet this test. It only swims in California waters. It's not bought, sold, or traded. While the outcome of this case is far from certain, one thing is, thanks to you, farmers like Jim Jasper, his employees, and the millions of consumers who count on them have hope. Jim Jasper's parents moved their family to the Bay Area, to the San Joaquin Valley in 1948 to make a better life. Now, Jim is trying to do the same for his family, including his son Jason and his grandson Jacob.
My family started farming 62 years ago, and I've been involved in it now as a second generation for 42 years. And I thought that we'd be able to continue farming for many, many years to come. My son is now involved with the family business. My grandson will be coming into the business. But with this water crisis that we're experiencing today, and for 2009 we were only allotted 10% of our water allotment. We're farming 2,500 acres of trees today, and as you know, it's almost, it is impossible to grow a crop without water. And we barely got through this past year, and we don't see a whole lot of light on the horizon. So it's extremely critical. And there's a lot of lives, not only my own family, but all the families that have been working for our company. There's 175 people that we employ, and that's a lot of lives that are going to suffer just because of this Endangered Species Act, and not getting the water that we think we need to be able to exist.
It's only through the generosity of PLF donors that we can fight in the courts to keep water and freedom flowing to the people.